Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy, was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode. Good morning. So every interaction, every human engagement that you have is always leading to something beyond the moment. Right now, I'm prepping for a speech, or a presentation rather, for a group of landlords, house flippers, investors here in the Twin Cities. And what they want to do is they want to improve their business and their livelihoods financially, as well as their work-life balance on how they pursue business in their personal life. Right now, in the social media landscape, there's a reckoning that's happening, and it's thrilling to see. There are folks that have been promoting, pushing, advertising, 10xing, be your better self, and they sell their courses, their programs, their masterminds, their premium, VIP, ultra exclusive clubs, and they provide copy and paste output that are generated from ChatGPT, from other gurus and other speakers, and they act like they're this futuristic, game-changing individual. And sometimes it's valuable, sometimes it's meaningful, but a lot of times it is nothing novel. But they're an aggregator of information, and so you could either go and find all these self-help resources on your own, or you could pay someone 10 grand and they'll give it to you in one e-course. And it's probably worth 20 grand if they charge you 10 grand, but you could find it for 1 grand. And so there's a reckoning for folks that are these influencers and promoters and advertisers. And at the end of the day, it's all fluff. There's not a whole lot of tactical, what can I do? And they push it off as, well, if you just give them information, they're not going to go use it. You need to give them the essence, the vibes, the ethos of being success, and not like the how to do it success, because that's lower level training. Garbage. You need to tell people how to do it. If you're telling someone, here's how to have an amazing morning, here's how to go work out at the gym, you don't just tell them, like, live success. You tell them, like, here's how to do a proper bicep curl. Here's how to read nutrients on a nutrition label. Here's how to have good form at a kickboxing studio. You got to give them the detail how-to guides where people will disagree with you. Like, no, that's terrible. There's no such thing as a bad macro. No, that's bad form. You're going to hurt your knees on the kickbox if you do it that way. You need to have something that's so practical and hands-on that people can start to discredit you or verify that what you're doing is accurate. And right now, anyhow, that's beyond the self-business space. That's beyond the business owner space. It's more my gripe with the self-help space. And right now, there's a lot of influencers that are being taken down. One guy that I've been following for a while right now, he's a self-help person. He's very good on like sales and just ethos and vibes. And right now, a lot of his scams are being exposed. And it's kind of surprising because I didn't realize that there were all these like inner workings and things. But long story short, the folks that are driven by money, that are incentivized by popularity, they do it for the likes, they do it for the posts, they do it for the social dopamine hit. What will commonly happen is, hey, buy my $97 course. Now buy my $3,000 program. Here's my $10,000 program. Here's my $25,000 mastermind. And it's this constant up-leveling and buy more, sell more. And the folks that are doing well can afford it. The folks that are not doing well, they buy in and then they get stuck. And then they can't buy up anymore. And the feedback is usually like, oh, hey, looks like you must not be implementing what we're teaching you. So you must not be like actually doing the work. So sorry you're stuck at our $97. It looks like you'll be able to buy our $3,000 program when you're actually like doing the work, putting in the grind, hustle culture, blah, 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 10X, trash. That is garbage. That puts the onus on the individual that there is not outside forces at play. Right now in the world, there's more aid packages being sent over to Israel and Ukraine and probably African countries and all sorts of places. You cannot control $97 billion going on. You cannot control interest rates. You cannot control a recession. You cannot control non-competes that just got banned yesterday. There are so many things you can do. There's so many things that you cannot control. And to put the onus on the individual of, hey, it's your fault that the U.S. just sent $100 billion over to third world countries. That's not my fault. I'm not doing anything. I'm working a day job, trying to feed the family, trying to operate a gym, trying to figure out how I'm going to monetize this and not go belly up. You either buy in and you double down on just being depressed that you can't get your life together, which I was buying into, I'll admit, or you start to acknowledge, hey, I'm doing the best I can. I've got my checklist for today. That's all I can do. I cannot do 100 things when I have time for 10, and I can really only focus on 5. Let's be real. That is the reality of the present situation. There is never a lack of work, no matter what you're doing. If you own a business, if you're an employee, there will always be too many things for you to do. And that's why people burn themselves out. That's why that's why they succumb to either quitting their job because their job is burning them out and their boss is not letting them breathe, or they're burning out as a business owner because they think they have to do everything and they don't know how to outsource and delegate, or they think they have to take on more than they really are capable of doing, and then people blame the individual for not being able to work 28 hours a day. Like, let's be real. That's the state of the state. All you can do is what you can do today. Anything beyond that, and you are asking for burnout and dying at a young age. Your identity is not in your job. Your identity is not in your business. Your identity is being made in the image of God. You are valuable. You're worthwhile. Your family matters to you. Your friends matter to you. And if you have terrible friends or a terrible family, okay, then let's get you some new friends and new family. But if you're having to take on a third job, fourth job, let's get you a better job. Let's get you a better peer network. Let's get you something a little bit better so that you can make a big improvement in your life. And there's no point to the whole point of this episode is I'm doing self-talk here. I'm learning. I have been focusing on things beyond my control. I've bought into excessive work, partially as a band-aid of not having to deal with personal relationships, and as well as thinking like, hey, I need to hit a certain income level so that we can stay alive. And that income level, sure, yeah, everyone needs to pay rent. Everyone needs to buy groceries. That's a reality. The number I've had is probably like over double what most people need to pay their bills. And right now, like as I'm talking, like, okay, what alternative routes can I take to help provide an income? Like referrals, networks, a bolt-on business. My number has been so big, and I've hit that in my day job that now when like yesterday, I was talking to my marketing friends. It's like, hey, I don't know what we can do together, but let's do something together. And it was like, okay, well, what's the number, man, you need to hit? Nathan, what's the number you need to hit? And I give him the number. I realize my number is ludicrously high. And the guy responded back like, bro, that's double what I even make. And he's in another country. So, that's one factor to take in. But when you're focused on the money, let's pretend you hit that money number. Now you are locked in and you are less flexible to pivot. If I was making 50 grand a year, I could now switch to being self-employed and I could make 40 grand and get things up and going. And it's not so big. My number, this sounds so douchey of me to say, but like my number that I need to hit is so high that it would hurt to take a hit and then do a small business, even if that's a normal level. It'd be an up level for a lot of people. It'd be a down level for a handful of people. And that's something that I've boxed myself in on. And so to make any pivot or side improvements, I now have to acknowledge that's a side hustle. That cannot be my full-time hustle. And I have remorse on that. I wish I had hit traction going self-employed small business owner earlier in my career. I've taken I've taken like 5 cracks at self-employed indirectly, and it's never panned out. And that sucks. And now that I feel like I know what I'm doing when it comes to marketing, sales, promotion, affiliates, my W-2 has been so high that it's now my benchmark to actually make that my full-time focus is so much higher. So I'm enjoying my day job. I like my job. I love my job. I have a great time with my job. I have a phenomenal boss, phenomenal company, and I don't want to leave it. And unfortunately, I've bought into hustle culture too long, and I've up-leveled that I'm now boxed in. And fortunately, I'm boxed into an area that I'm thrilled to be boxed in on. But I throw out the term because I want to convey the point that don't chase the money. Chase where you're valuable. Chase where you're impactful. Chase where you have a little magic sauce that other people cannot replicate. Or if they try to replicate, people know that you're not able to pull it off. So don't buy into hustle culture. Don't go for the money. Don't go for 10x, blah, 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 self-promotion, flipping garage sale couches. Be good at your craft. Gain traction where you're at. Start building equity in your work. Collect cash flow along the way. Hopefully this is not a throwaway episode. And I want this to really hit home with someone who's just aching to hit a certain thing. Buy into impact to where you've got magic sauce and where there's something beyond the money that you can bring to the table. And ask business owners on how you can do that. Well, made it to my morning appointment for the day, so I got to pause it there, but that's my spiel. If I had to do a TLDR, don't buy into hustle culture, tap into your gifts, ask people where your strengths are at, get in on an area where there's growth within a company, be a contributor, and get plugged in. And take a shot at self-employment, business ownership earlier than you think you're ready for. You'll probably hit traction faster than you think. That's where we're going. Let's rock and roll. This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY due diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.